Tonight I'm going to be talking about coping with the diagnosis of Marfan syndrome. And let's see here. Okay, this is just a picture of the University of Florida's Heart and Vascular Hospital, which is where we see our patients. It's a 3-year-old building and it's pretty new and it's very handy. So coping strategies can include things like education, of course, support, connection, physical exercise and activities, and advocacy. And I'll get into each of these separately. Education includes finding out a lot of information about the medical diagnosis. When you're diagnosed, usually when people come in, we spend a lot of time talking with them about Marfan syndrome. Some of them have done their homework ahead of time, but we do go into lots of details with our patients. Of course, cardiac and aortic workups are real important. Our patients get CTs and they get echoes. Our doctors go over those with them so they understand and they can actually see on imaging what's going on. We talk about musculoskeletal differences such as scoliosis and other things, muscle pain, joint pain. We recommend that people see an ophthalmologist every year. An ophthalmologist is different than an optometrist. Ophthalmologists actually dilate and look at the back of your eye and they look at your lens because sometimes the lens is displaced. And we also offer all of our patients genetic counseling, which involves doing at least a 3-generation family history, asking about people's health, etc. And then we talk about how the inheritance of Marfan works. Of course, it's autosomal dominant. And we talk about other family members. We also offer the testing prior to clinic. When people come in, if we have their insurance, I find out what their out-of-pocket cost would be. So right up front, they know that too. The way that we're doing it right now is through saliva samples mostly. So support. The Marfan Foundation is the best source for information and connections. You can connect with other people. You get lots of good information. The Marfan Foundation is very active and we find them very, very helpful. So we always talk about the Marfan Foundation with all of our patients right up front. We encourage people who have been newly diagnosed to educate their family and friends about their condition, that you can get good support usually from family and friends, and it's very helpful day to day. Sometimes there's other counseling that people need. Dealing with emotional stress when you've got a lifelong condition can be challenging. Sometimes family planning would be one of the things that we talk about. Of course, we do talk about the inheritance pattern, but there are various sorts of options for family planning. And then also financial concerns sometimes cause stress for families. This is the Kubler-Ross change curve, and it deals with different reactions that people have to having a diagnosis. Some people in the beginning have shock and denial. Sometimes people get angry. Sometimes they're bargaining or they're blaming themselves. Sometimes people settle into depression, thinking that things aren't going to change. And they look forward to kind of some of the things that might come up in their lifetime as far as complications go. Eventually, most people get through acceptance and exploration, and they problem solve and they integrate having Marfan syndrome or any other condition into their life. All these things don't have to happen in every single person, and sometimes people kind of skip around from one thing to the other. Connections. We feel like it's really great to have a medical team that you can talk to and a medical team that you can ask questions, someone that you connect with. Your medical team becomes very important, and in most cases, we want to see somebody every year. There are support organizations like the Marfan Foundation. There actually are others too. There might be something locally that you could join. And the connections with others who have similar concerns is really important. You can meet people through the foundation. You can meet people through, sometimes we can connect people with other people that live near them. The way that we do that is we contact the person that we think would make a good connection with the person who'd like to have the connection. And we have the person that we would like to connect with our patient contact them directly. So it has to be mutual consent. Exercise and activities are really great for people with, people with and without Marfan syndrome. People with Marfan syndrome need to choose appropriate exercise activities. We want them to avoid strenuous lifting and high contact sports. One of the things that could be considered, I think that some people don't think about as much, might be yoga, meditation, or mindfulness. Those things can help relieve stress, and they can be very helpful too, and they're calming. We also think that it's a really good idea for people to volunteer. You can volunteer for different activities with the Marfan Foundation. There are also other groups out there that aren't related to Marfan that you could volunteer for, and it makes you feel good. Most of all, we want people to exercise, have activities, and have fun. Live your life. Advocacy for self and others. You need to advocate for yourself. A lot of people, even people that I come in contact with that I assume probably know about Marfan syndrome, they might have heard the word, but they really don't know what it is. And so we all have an obligation to educate other people. And when you educate other people, there's more awareness of what's going on with Marfan syndrome and other conditions. You can get involved in lots of ways. Walking for Victory is a really good thing. We have had walks for the last several years. And there are many of them around the country. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people and you make good connections. And it's actually a very enjoyable day. The Marfan conferences are also a really good thing too. There are national ones, there are local ones. And also there are webinars and Zoom meetings that you can connect with, and you can find out about those through the Marfan Foundation. So thank you. We have been real proponents of the Marfan Foundation, and we love the families we see. We're grateful to participate in your care, and you make our work worthwhile. Thank you.